Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. It is time for a 1 versus 1 on setons. Drag up a chair, grab a drink, get settled in. This is going to be a bumpy and a long ride. This is going to be Killers, who is Cybran, versus Ember as Seraphim. In 1 versus 1, usually people take the front slots versus each other. It speeds up the action a little bit and helps prevent a turtle starting, although this is not always effective. These are both 2K plus players rated roughly the same, so there should be some incredibly impressive gameplay. I am very much looking forward to how this is going to turn out. Alright. If I am not completely mistaken, I think Killer is Mad Mozart. I think. Because Embers is someone else. I'm going to assume that. If I am sorry, I am terribly mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. So instead of Killer, I am going to refer to the South as Mozart. I'm going to bump up the speed slightly, but I am probably going to run this a little slower than average. However, I am going to try to keep the speed up because I think this replay is close to an hour. Alright, early aggression from Mozart. He is going to push a man... Actually, that is a hunter, my bad. A hunter all the way up and around. That is actually kind of a traditional setons move to push that lab around. That is probably destined for this engineer in the back, hoping to snag that and deny Hydro, although it is pretty late in getting there. Another thing you will notice that is contrary to what happens on most setons is the fact that the ACUs did not immediately walk to center. They actually got a base established. That is due to the fact that you do not have any teammates to cover you if you screw up. Although the build is actually pretty similar because both players are going to end up in mid at roughly the same time, except Embers is going to stop and take the time. Hunter denied. He's going to take the time to stop and build a land factory. I love the early bomber play that came out. It was not as completely successful as it could have potentially been, because Embers was pretty early in getting out his interceptors, but it was a good try, Mozart. Kudos to you. Embers bomber is going to survive, and it is going to loop around to the southern side. As you can see, these engineers are spreading out in the back for both players, getting out and grabbing those expansions. Looks like Embers is actually going for early aggression. That is probably to get Mozart out of the reclaim field. He is trying to deny all this mass to the other player. Mozart is going to swing in and try to save his commander with some Mantis. Meanwhile, this bomber is going to do loop-the-loops in the back here, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. It was already definitely giving Mad Mozart problems, having to weave and dodge to get around those things, and the ACU is blocking the Mantis from going back and killing that Artie. Extremely heavy Zooey build. That is pretty insane. It looks like about a 50-50 mix of units there. This bomber is finally going to get out here, but it is misdropping. He needs to kill that engineer before it gets the land factory down, and yes, score. The bomber is going to die, but that was well worth it because now there is no land factory down here and the engineer is dead. This drop up here has to have been spotted because of that little engineer right over there. He is going to immediately start laying down land factories. Very, very good strategy in 1 versus 1 setons to get yourself established on the other guy's side. If you can take the fight to him, you've already done a substantial amount of damage just because of the fact that you have disrupted his gameplay. Have a drop to the island for Embers, and looks like a relative stalemate on the front. Embers a little bit low on health. He does have the artillery to back him up. Mozart is doing the dance, trying to get away from the artillery. And that is actually really good, using a transport to more quickly drop engineers through the back expansions. And now Embers has a problem on his hands. He does not have any land factories on this side. So this denial hurt Mozart. This is going to hurt much, much worse. Odd place to build a factory there, for sure. This is going to not only net Mozart more eco by capping all of these mass extractors, it's going to throw a huge wrench in the works for Embers, because he is not going to be able to funnel 100% of his spam to front. That is going to buy Mozart time. As you can see, both players have moved to Tech 2 land. We have Ilshevas coming from Embers, and Rhinos and Flak to the front for Mozart. Is building an aggressive line of point defense. Normally I would not recommend this, but when your enemy is attacking with Ilshevas through the neck, that is going to give you a leg up, because that point defense will be able to fire on anything coming in. Good reclaim by both players. Got groups of engineers out and about. Embers sitting on 9,000 and Mozart sitting on roughly the same. So pretty much identical play, although Mozart, due to having all of these extra mass extractors, and in addition denying some to Embers, he does have about 20 more mass income. That is always a good thing to have on your opponent. And he is still hanging on to this expansion base by the skin of his teeth. It does not look like he has any engineers remaining, but he already has these 6 land factories, so that is going to be a problem for Embers to overcome. However, Embers is going to drop 2 Ilshevas over here. Excellent move on his part. Ilshevas, fantastic standalone units. They can kite Mantis, which makes them very strong versus Cybern. And those could potentially do a whole lot of damage. You'll have to forgive me if I zoom a little bit more than I usually do on this game, because this is a big map. There is a lot to take in on a 20K. T1 bombers coming down to deal with these Ilshevas. That one is going to run into a point defense. Unlucky choice of targets. 5 health on that mass extractor. This one down here is going to be a little more lucky. It is going to take down 2 mass extractors, but mass-wise, I don't think that drop was worth it. It did not kill enough. Well done by Mozart, being able to deal with those effectively. And still, with a group of Mantis over here, that is finally going to be cleaned up by those Ilshevas. Maybe, perhaps, possibly. Yes, no. 2 Mantis going to take down this T2 mass extractor right before it takes a bomb to the face. And those are finally going to go down, but not before costing Embers a disturbing amount of trouble. That was a very good move on Mozart's part. T3 has officially hit the field. Siege tanks are trying to cross the neck, but not going to have much luck. And once Mozart shifts to T3, which I'm sure he will soon, the siege tanks are going to be completely outmatched. Bricks, hands down, demolish Othams. People argue back and forth about the Othams plus T3 mobile shields, but honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of using the T3 mobile shields to compensate for the Othams sucking. But, you know, to each his own. If you can effectively use the mobile shields to get your Othams in and attack, then by all means do so, and kudos to you for having better micro skills and more patience than I do. I would rather just build a brick or a personal. I usually play Cybern or UEF. Good move by Mozart building those T2 bombers that are going to be able to help him not get pushed out of the water on Navy. Because of the structure of setons, losing Navy on either side is a horrible thing because it then allows the domination of this Navy. It basically hands your enemy about a third of your landmass because it doesn't matter which faction they are. They have some type of attack unit. They can take out the front base, most of the rock base, and then heaven forbid you're versus a cyber and they can walk Salems up on your beach. That always ends badly. These Salems are going to do a really good job of harassing these land forces, helping, despite the total lack of Tech 3, those Salems are going to help hold the center, dealing with a lot of units. Those things are definitely worth their mass being there. We are going to see 2 cyber destroyers coming in. As long as you micro those well, they can potentially win against cyber destroyers. It looks like they will win. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. 0 micro. Some of that was on Mozart for not kiting properly because the Salems do have a range advantage. And now there is a major problem in the North Sea because there are 2 destroyers in the water and a cruiser that is going to kill off the naval build power, as well as bombarding the mass extractors on land. This is horrible. Holy cow. 3 Tech 3 P-Gens and 3 Tech 2 P-Gens. Embers. Oh my. That hurts. That hurts to watch. That is a hard power stall. My goodness, that's going to be hard to recover from. That is basically going to completely shut down his entire production for a short time. He is going to have to do everything in his power to get everything in his power. He is going to have to try as hard as he can to get power back online and do it soon, or that could be a crippling blow if it puts him behind enough in production. Finally seeing Tech 3 land and a couple of bricks coming out from Mozart, as well as a whaler. Honestly, the whaler is going to do more than those couple of bricks at this point. Although building your Tech 3 air headquarters on the front lines like that, in my opinion, is not the brightest of ideas, due to the fact that it is going to get killed and then no more whalers, which is a major problem. As aforementioned, with the production problems that come with a total power stall, which has finally been taken care of, but that is at the expense of overflowing a substantial amount of mass, that is going to go a long ways towards losing naval control on the northern side. This right here, I don't know if that's going to work very well. Those destroyers are going to get a good amount of fire on the rear Salem. He's probably going to lose that one. Yes, but the other 3 will get up on shore. And this is the problem I was talking about. When you lose a navy, these cruisers are going to park right off your shore, and you're going to lose, well, with these cruisers, it's more like half of your landmass. Those attack missiles arching up and over and raining fire and brimstone down upon your eco. Seeing power generators going down, production going down, mass extractors going down. Mozart is doing okay on power because he, I'm assuming, has brass. I'm going to cut this down a little bit, and we are going to take a little bit more detailed look at this. Mozart does have resource allocation, so that is going to give him about 3k power, and it looks like he is doing pretty dang well on eco despite having lost all of these mass extractors up here, still pulling in a substantial 247 income, and he is doing some sabotaging of his own on the northern side right here. Although he is going to fail to seize naval control on the southern side. Overall, not looking great on the north front, but it is still salvageable. Loyalists are a fantastic idea on here because Loyalists, as a lot of you know, have built-in TAC missile defense, so those placed properly, those will be able to actually return fire on the cruisers and possibly kill them. I think that is a sniper bot, if I am not mistaken. Yes, it is. Alright, that was a quick look at Mozart. We now see these whalers coming up, escaping the notice of all those interceptors. Let me find his ACU. Get that out of the way. He does not have RAS, which is why he was having such big problems with power earlier. Once he lost his actual power generators, it was really hard for him to recover because he did not have the built-in income. He is finally going to start that RAS upgrade. Very late in the game to be doing that. 35 minutes. These Salems up here are going to cause problems for him. He is actually way behind on eco, not capping his things, and each side is having their own issues and having problems solving them. And then you can see this right here. This is what I was talking about. You can see these return TAC missiles here. If I am not mistaken, which I may be, I think the returning... Okay, the TAC defense is firing on this. I think. Anyway, Loyalists are a fantastic tool to use against cruiser spam. Alrighty. Mozart, while he is wreaking a lot of havoc on the northern side and keeping Ember's eco suppressed substantially, he is getting cornered. His map control is not looking healthy. He has lost the neck, and losing this northern sea has absolutely devastated this whole side of the map, and it looks like he is about to lose the southern sea as well. This is not going to be pretty, because if the cruiser spam starts on this side, you're going to have major problems. I did forget to look at eco. 14k for Mozart, and holy cow, almost 80k for Embers. That is a huge difference. This sniper bot is hilarious. It has been firing on random crap forever. It only has 4 kills, but that thing was built, I don't know, probably 15 game minutes ago, and it is still alive. I am impressed. You are a very healthy sniper bot. Massive T2 gunship swarm coming down. That looks to be about 15 or so. Surprisingly, we're just now seeing T3 air. Both players have hit T3 air at roughly the same time, but looky there, Mozart has used his superior eco to get a Soul Ripper up. This is huge. He has enough ASF to guard it as well. So this is going to be interesting to watch. Run for the hills. Those Othams tearing a streak across the map, trying to get out of reach of that Soul Ripper. That is funny. ASF going to clean up some of these interceptors. Soul Ripper is going to be free to terrorize these Tech 3 units. Although there is a pretty good number of cruisers. There are a pretty good number of cruisers No, I was right the first time. There is a number. All of you grammar Nazis, stay away from me. You're starting to contaminate me. There is a pretty good number of cruisers over here. So, that Soul Ripper is going to be slightly restricted in the airspace into which it can fly. Easily dropping those two cruisers. Drop 4 Authams. I am sure that is destined for this location. It is probably going to kill off those mass extractors. Another 4, actually that is 3 over here. And engineers, that is going to be a proxy base. A very late game proxy base, but a proxy base nonetheless. That Ripper is going to be making its way northward. The recurring theme that I see on this fight is Mozart is doing way more damage with far fewer units. It seems like the units that he makes tend to make it way up into the map and all over and be a huge bother, and then Embers is simply trying to overwhelm by sheer force and number of units, although this is going to be a problem of engagement because these bricks are going to outrange the Authams, so that will give them a slight advantage. This Ripper has already picked up a vet, and it is going to sweep up some of this build power, free HP. I would hit some of this over here as well. And yes, as you can see, the bricks running away were able to absolutely obliterate the larger group of Authams and survive. A second Soul Ripper is up. That one is probably going to be for home defense. And this Ripper, meanwhile, has picked up another vet and is calmly trolling around the map, killing off Eco. As you can see here, Embers is taking a dive even further below Mozart's income. That is pretty funny. He needs to get enough ASF up to kill that thing. I believe Mozart actually killed the air HQ. That would be why no more ASF have shown up. Whalers and Ripper. Ripper is the damage sponge. Whalers are a good bit of extra damage thrown into the equation. Although those cruisers, you can see the flak shots on those things. That's what makes the Cybern cruisers amazing, is their ability to wipe out gunships in groups. And this Ripper is going to die now. I'm sure Mozart is running to kill off all of the mass extractors he can and running towards his group of ASF, just barely going to survive. 17,000 health left on that. He is going to need to pick up another vet and quickly taking a dive for the engineers. And it's not going to be enough, down to 16, 14, 13,000 health. But he is going to keep it alive, using that Ripper defensively on the southern side to hold this position against the Authams. Those ASF dodging in and out, trying to engage, trying to win the air fight. Mozart does have superior numbers in the air, though. He is easily going to mop up those units. This Ripper really needs a vet badly. 320 out of 400. Maybe it will get there. So many engineers to reclaim. Ember picking up 180,000 reclaim to Mozart's 20,000 reclaim. Not even that, 18.5. This is absolutely absurd. Embers has picked up more reclaim than I've seen in recent days ever. Oh! Strat launcher and building a Scathus in the back for protection. I don't think... Is there any nuke defense? I don't see one. No! No! His ACU is chilling out in the water here, so he was safe. An overflowing mass like crazy. That was all of his build power. Holy cow. He did finally manage to kill off that Ripper, I think. This isn't the same one. No, it is not. 3-vet, and that is a Megalith. So he did finally manage to kill off the air in the north and to kill off that Soul Ripper. Probably going to get this one as well. This Ripper is out alone, forsaken and abandoned. However, the ASF are going to run in and save the day. Alright, Embers has the map control advantage, he has the unit advantage, and that nuke hit hurt, but he can definitely come back from this. He's just going to have to watch out because, dang, Mozart is turtling up like a badass. The Skathis, the ultimate Sage weapon, is coming online. That is going to outrange the cruisers, is going to outrange anything else that Embers can throw at it indirectly. The only thing that he is going to be able to build to outrange that would be an airstrike, T3 stationary artillery, or a nuke. And actually there is no nuke defense over here, which is kind of surprising. But I suppose if you have good intel, which Mozart does, he is scouting regularly, you will know whether or not your enemy has a nuke, which he does not. Therefore, you do not have to waste the mass on nuke defense. Alright, this Skathis is going to move forward. He's going to have to keep an eye on it with air, because all it'll take is just a couple of strat bombers getting a good pass or two in, and that Skathis will go down. I'm sure he's going to move forward, stop somewhere up here, and start laying down bombardment on this Navy. You can see the range. Look at the range on the Skathis, already in reach of the full Navy, whereas the cruisers have this little ring range right here. Skathis going to horrifically outrange it. A second nuke up, and away, going after the T3 power grid. There was a nuke defense built there, but it is not loaded. Embers is going to be relying on RAS income. That is basically RAS, what you're seeing there. The 6K power income still, holy cow, such mass overflow. 240,000 reclaim, but overflowing almost all of it. That, so sad. So sad. Mozart has gotten up to 30K reclaim, just mopping up units like a boss. However, the Skathis is too fragile to take that kind of fire. Don't lose it, bud. There we go. And the Loyalists returning fire on those cruisers. And a Megalith slowly making its way forward. Mozart has managed to deny a kill or critical map loss, and he is now slowly starting to expand, covering his own units with air. He is in firm control of the air due to that nuke, actually the pair of nukes, because the T3 power grid going down crippled Embers. That nuke defense is probably going to be loaded before this nuke can fire. He is loading the strat defense there, although I'm not sure why. Don't see a strat launcher, and I also do not see a battleship. I guess it is preventative measures. And Otham's emerging from the water, trying to take their vengeance on that Skathis, but it is not meant to be. Skathis packing up and moving on, is going to roll forwards. It has successfully taken out this entire side of the Navy, and now we have whalers cleaning up the right side expansion. Guys, I thought for sure that Mozart was dead. I thought there was no way in hell that he was going to survive that. He's behind on reclaim. For a very short time, he was slightly behind on eco. He was behind on unit count. Lost over a third, almost half of his landmass. Both navies, and still pulled one out. I cannot believe that he actually managed to pull this off. We now have a megalith up front, killing that nuke defense. So it is a moot point whether it was loaded or not, and then that nuke is going to come in for the kill. Enormous amount of whalers out here. Just obliteration in every sense. This is insane. Bad target choice for the nuke, but the quit has been accomplished anyway. That is game over. Guys, that is what a 1 versus 1 on setons looks like when the pros do it. Honestly, I would say that that's every bit as good as a team game. That is absolutely amazing to watch. Well done, Mozart, or Killer. I'm pretty sure that's Mozart. Well done, sir. You win the comeback award of the night. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I did. That was absolutely amazing to watch. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and send me those replays. I will be back on FAF duty on Monday. Tomorrow, though, I am going to be picking up the game that won the votes. That is Prison Architect. I'm going to play through it as well as a couple other games. Possibly get on some Battlefield 4. We'll see what the game holds, what the day holds, but I will see you guys then.